One. We're live?
Yep. Hey, everybody. Happy Friday. Happy Finance Friday, where we transform your relationship with money and give you the tips you need to grow. And
Are you reading something?
No.
Why does it sound like you're reading it?
Why does it sound like you're reading it? We're live.
It's all right.
Anyway, happy Friday. Hope you guys are doing well. I'm Ryan Wilson. This is Jim Novakovich.
Hi.
And we are here to give you some tips. So hope you all are doing well. If you get a chance, follow us on Twitter at Nova Wealth Management. MGMT is the management, not spelled out. Follow us on Instagram at Nova Wealth Management, on YouTube, and then like our page here on Facebook. So anyway, we're back. Jim and I are back again, and today we are going to talk about the stock market and whether or not it is a gamble. One thing we want to clear up, though, is if you read our caption, it says that to tune in to see how scare tactics are used to buy what we're selling, or that what they are selling. What it meant was people out there, not us.
Yeah, we don't sell anything.
And so we aren't trying to sell you on anything. And so if it got you to watch our video, great. We will actually probably do the opposite of that. We don't like to use scare tactics. We want people to be feel good about investments, and that's what we do. So
yeah, I don't even know any scare tactics. I know from 20 years ago, I remember I took when I was at American Express Financial, they would have you do the training, like any company does, and it was strange to me that, well, not strange. I mean, it makes sense. If you're a salesperson outside of the financial world, it's kind of ridiculous that they teach people how to sell shit in the investment world. But, so they say you got to create concern and then offer a solution. Right. I mean, that's all I know about selling and scare tactics. Yeah. We don't sell. I don't sell anything. Right.
Right. I don't really know, but I think this time of, we talked last week about the stock market and how the fourth quarter of last year was very volatile. And I think what we want to get across is that there are some people that will use that idea to let you know, oh, with the gamble of the stock market, come and buy my product, is kind of what you'll hear on the radio if you're listening. And things of that nature. You know what I'm talking about? When you'll hear that, I think that's what we meant by the scare tactics that other sales people will use to kind of get you to not invest in the market, but instead invest in other areas. And so it's those fear-based selling that people will use in order to get you to become a client. And I think that we're hoping to kind of not get you not to do those things, but instead kind of clear up the misconception that the stock market is like walking into a casino, and it's not gambling.
So the thing you just said was the thing that jumped out to me. You said products, buy my product, and that's what they're kind of pitching as a product.
Right.
If you have anybody that says, this product, or I don't even know another word they use, but product is a surefire way just to run the other way. Products very, very rarely are good. Yeah. I guess maybe an annuity, they consider those products.
Yeah. In certain, there are
some annuities are good for a piece of a bigger picture. Right. But not for all of anyone's money.
Right. And I think, again, going back to your sales technique that you learned of creating a concern and then offering a solution, we don't want to create a concern. Hopefully, if we meet with our clients, we will offer solutions, but it's not because we say, hey, this might happen to you, and God forbid that happen, but if it did, you might want to do this. We don't do that. We just offer solutions to people's investments.
The only time I think in our business, we kind of get into that a little bit is with long-term care. Right. Because you have to, and it's not like I'm trying to create concern when we talk about long-term care, but I think it's really important that they at least think about it, because no one likes to think about long-term care, because it's one of those insurances where you really hope you never have to use it.
Hey, Amy.
Oh, she's listening. All right, we won't say anything bad about you since we know you're watching. But I'd say long-term care. I think creating a concern as a sales technique, I'm not doing that to try to sell anything. I just want them to be aware that the one thing that can typically hurt a family financially is if you need care and you don't have long-term care, it could devastate.
And it's not necessarily, that's not necessarily putting out a concern, or it's more, it kind of is, but it's more just shining light on something that some people just might not think about, which I think is different. I think if you're bringing up solutions that just might not be thought of, it's still giving them the opportunity to make that decision, which I guess ultimately they, even with scare tactics, they are. But I think just using something else that's going on to push something else is not necessarily the best. But that wasn't even really the point of our discussion today. We just wanted to clear that up, that you aren't going to be watching us for us to be scaring you into buying what we're selling. It was more just to hinder you from buying what they are selling.
All right, so last week, if you remember, I my brain completely froze, and I had a really good thought. Remember, I even said, "Oh, I got a great thought," but it completely left my mind, and I couldn't remember.
Yeah.
And about maybe 10 or 15 minutes after we ended the live last week, I said, "Oh yeah, it was the whole idea of gambling."
Right.
And some people feel like the stock market's gambling. And I wanted to, and I used, Amy's out of town this week, or not this week, but today. Mm-hmm. So we used the opportunity to get me back in here so we could talk about that.
Yeah. So you were really excited about it. As soon as we shut off the video last week, I remember.
Yeah, I knew it would come back to me. And I'm like, son of a, because I knew it was good.
Yeah.
So, when the market does what it does in the fourth quarter, last quarter, and we did some numbers, like companies, really good companies like Apple down 30% in the fourth quarter, Amazon down 25%, Lockheed Martin down 24% in one quarter. Mm-hmm. And I could see how people would say that this is gambling because, why, how is this happening? So I wanted to talk about that today because it's not gambling. I would say the stock market is gambling in that in the short term, anything could happen.
Right. Well, because ultimately when you're buying a stock, which makes it different than gambling, is you're purchasing something, right? Yeah. When you're gambling, you're just offering up money, hoping that this thing might happen and you would then benefit. If you lose, you just lose it all, right? That's gambling. When you're buying a stock, you're buying a piece of a company. You're not, now granted it's a small piece, but it's still a piece of a company. And so that value though is fluctuating to try to figure out what the right value of that company is at that time. And so in the short term, there's a lot of things that go into figuring that out. So, but in the long term, it usually will settle into what it's supposed to be, what that company is worth.
Right.
Would you agree with that?
Yeah. I always say ultimately the price per share will ultimately mirror the earnings per share. Right. The earnings drives your share price. But in the short term, you got trade that can move the market. You got interest rate. The Fed can move the market. This week, the Amazon CEO announced they're getting a divorce. Mm-hmm. That can move some stock prices, and it did a little bit on Amazon yesterday. Yeah. So in the short term, I could see where people would say it's gambling, but when you decide on investing in a company like Amazon or Home Depot or Lockheed, these are companies with great balance sheets, great cash flow, great sales. These are great companies. Mm-hmm. It's not you're crazy if you call that gambling.
Right.
I mean, you're investing there. There's a difference between a trade and an investment. Right. They talk about this on Fast Money, the 5:00 show on CNBC that I would recommend people to watch. When they're talking about a short-term investment, when the Nigerian brothers see these trades where a lot of money moves into calls, long calls, they'll jump in for 3 weeks and they'll hope to make a small spread quickly.
Right.
That's a trade. Mm-hmm. That's gambling. Because if they're wrong and it goes the other way in 3 weeks, they're done. Right.
Because they're not buying it to buy the company. They're buying it as just a playing chip to then move to the next place.
Yeah.
Right. So it's not. So I think that's the biggest difference between trading and investing, is that investing, you're buying it to grow with a company. And you're looking at an Amazon that I think everyone would agree that Amazon's not going anywhere, because if you look at a UPS truck or a FedEx truck,
or my driveway,
they're just full of them. And so but trading, the short term, it can fluctuate. And so when you get in, when you get out, the idea of, and I think that people's gambling tendencies also come out in those short terms.
No doubt. It is gambling.
Yeah, because, the idea of, it's gone down a little bit, let me throw in some more to then double up, in the shorter term. And then, it's down really far, it's got to come back up. Amy thinks we're talking too technically. So we
I don't think we're talking too technically. It's this simple. A trade is short term, and we said earlier that anything could happen in the short term. So, for instance, the fourth quarter, I'd consider 3 months a pretty short term.
Mm-hmm.
You think anything was wrong with Amazon in the fourth quarter?
No,
but it was down 25%.
Right.
So, but 2 years from now, or even, probably 3 months from now, it's going to be considerably higher than it is today. So I would say, you have trades or gambling, or you have investments. We like to buy investments. We're not looking to make a ton of money in the next 3 weeks or 3 months.
Right.
We're looking to get you in good assets that have great balance sheets and strong earnings and good growth.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually it's going to pan out.
Right. Yeah.
That's where we are.
And so then, and just knowing that, and I think that so often we forget that, because it's all online and everything's so electronic now, that you are actually buying something. You're not just throwing money onto the computer. So I think a lot of people get more emotional about the stock market because they're not really holding the shares anymore.
Yeah.
And so I think that's where this idea of I don't know, it could go up or it could go down, and I don't really know. And so I think that just remembering that you are owning something, and long term, if you believe in a company, that's why you should also know what you own. If you're going to buy individual stocks, don't just listen to some 10-minute video that says, buy this on Friday, and on Monday you'll be able to sell it, because you have no idea what that company's going to do.
Yeah. It's like I always say, the market is very irrational in the short term.
Mm-hmm.
Very irrational. And Tamara's funny. I think she's watching. Tamara's funny. When the market goes down, if it's down big in the pre-market, and she'll come into my office, she'll be like, why is the market down today? And I just shake my head like, I don't know, the sun came up. Like there's no reason why the market's up. But and this isn't just Tamara, this is everybody. When the market's way up,
mm-hmm.
people don't usually question that.
Right.
We just love it.
Right.
And you're like, great, but when it's down, everybody wants to know, why is it down? And and the obvious the answer is the markets move. It's that simple.
Yeah.
Markets move in the short term, but the price, if they're good companies, will be up with time.
Right.
If they're good companies. So, marijuana stocks, would you say that's a gamble or an investment?
Well, I think long term, it's a tough one. It's too early for me to make a call on it. I think I would rather wait to see how that industry really starts to pan out. Pick a couple. There's some people that love some of the companies, but I just am not ready, because you just don't know what's going to happen with the government. I think a lot of how much it gets legalized, what types of companies are able to then bring it to the U.S. and farm it, and all those different things, that I just think it's hard, because none of the companies have really proven themselves yet.
Right.
They're not old enough to really show good management. They're not. I think if you're buying marijuana stocks, it's definitely more of a hope.
Yeah.
At this point.
Yeah. It's a gamble. I call it a gamble.
Yeah.
It is, but I think it's a pretty good gamble.
Yeah.
And I think I don't know if I would go with, as far as the marijuana stocks go, for me personally, I haven't bought any for any
mm-hmm.
clients, but if I had some money that I didn't mind losing, And if you could find one that has options, which I don't know if you can, I doubt it. There's probably not enough volume. I've never looked, but that might be something where you go, buy a 3-month long option on it and hope. It's really gambling. That's gambling.
Yeah.
You could make a ton of money, but you can lose it all.
Yeah.
And if you're willing to lose it all, then go ahead and do that. But I would say that's a trade / gamble at this time, which we don't do. We do investing. I don't want to say we take the Warren Buffett approach. Like Warren Buffett will buy things he'll hold for 50 years. And it typically pays a dividend, and it has nice slow growth, and everyone's happy. Right. But I don't think we do that necessarily. Yeah. Because he'll buy things like Coke. Always stands out to me that he buys Coke, and it bothers me that he has Coca-Cola. It's been in the 40s for like my whole life. I think. I feel like it's been at like $42 or $46 forever. Yeah. It just bothers me. Yeah. But we're very comfortable holding Home Depot and Amazon and Google and those big, solid, super strong balance sheet type companies for years. Yeah. And be just fine.
Yeah. And I think going back, even with short-term trading, I think I struggle with the idea of gambling just because I think that I think in the short term, you're right, but I think it's more gambling and more risky when you don't really know. And so I would say educate yourself if you are going to trade.
No, just don't trade.
How's that? It is. That works.
If you're watching this, don't trade. You're not going to win, not consistently anyway. Because how about that client that we've had, not anymore, but we used to have a client that would call in and buy the marijuana stocks. Yeah. And she made a ton of money. And I kept telling her, knock it off, knock it off, knock it off. You're too old for this. This is too risky, knock it off. And what did it do? Like crashed and burned. Yeah. And so that's the problem with gamblers is the worst thing a gambler can do is win because they don't know when to quit. Okay. And she just gave it all back. Right. So.
All right. Well, don't trade.
Don't trade. Just don't do it. Unless you're going to do it like full time, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I just think that the more you know, the more you can know, the better off you are. If you're just flippantly buying and selling based on a stock's momentum or it's down, so it has to go up or, those types of ideas.
It's trading at $2 a share. So let's buy it because if it goes to $3, we make 50%. Right. Like that's the craziest thing in the world.
Amy wants you to explain a strong balance sheet. Like, what did you mean by that for people that don't understand?
Less expenses, more income, basically. Just profitable business. Yeah. We all know Amazon's a profitable company. Mm-hmm. We don't know that Marijuana Incorporated is profitable yet. They probably have a ton of overhead. Right. They probably, they're still working out their suppliers and blah blah blah. And there's so much with these smaller companies to work out. There's no history. Yeah.
And management is a big piece of that, of how they structure that stuff to figure out what the bottom line is going to be.
Yeah. And I don't know I'm not speaking of any particular marijuana company, but if you're in the marijuana business, you've probably tasted your product, I would think. And I don't know if I don't know. That's what I'll say on that.
We don't know on that one.
All right. I think we're good. Yeah.
20 minutes.
All right. I'm done for 2019. Amy will be back next week, and I made it through.
Well, thanks for showing up.
Yeah.
Especially the last couple weeks. A little bit more just kind of off the cuff, which is good.
Is that good?
Yeah. I think so. I don't know what people think, but it's fun.
All right. Well,
Amy will be back. She's probably cringing as we're kind of slowly closing this out. But anyway, thanks for watching today. I hope it was useful for you all. And we hope you have a great weekend. So thanks, guys.
Bye.